we're going to take a look at the adjustments of your Platens. When they come, we need to make sure that the print surface, which is the top part of the platen, is the same height all the way around in every single corner, all across the middle, the same exact distance from the print head. If it's not, we're going to get inconsistent prints. Now, there's going to be a couple ways that you will know that you have done this successfully. One of the best ways is when you load the machine. If you notice that your gap sensor is constantly going off when you load a machine, that's a real good indication that you probably haven't leveled the Platens very well. So here's the procedure for doing so. And for this, you're going to want either a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench or a box wrench. The box wrench is 10 millimeters. I'm going to use a box wrench. And then you're going to want something as a gauge. I like to use several coins. In this case, I have 3 quarters. This could just as easily be 3 nickels or 2 nickels. This could be an Allen wrench. This could be a lot of different things. What's important is that you use the same gauge to check every corner. Also, you cannot measure from the top surface down to the bottom of the platen. That is not an accurate way of measuring in case this bed isn't perfect. We need to make sure that the print surface relative to the print head is what's level. So that's what we're going to work off of. We're going to work off of this surface and we're going to check it against our print head. Now during this, to first set the height, I'm going to be using the bed up and bed down buttons to change the height. Okay, but only in one corner. Once I have it set for that one corner, I'm going to turn this off. And the way we deactivate the gap sensor is we press both the up and down buttons simultaneously and the light turns amber. So once I get it to the proper height, you're going to see I'm going to turn the gap sensor off so that it's locked. So as my hand keeps reaching in and out of here, it's not trying to change the height. Whereas if they are active, now every time I reach in here, this is going to change height. And we don't want that to happen. Okay, so now I'm going to start by opening up the cover. And I'm going to release the print head by pushing the release button. And now let's take a closer look underneath here so we can see what we're actually gauging this against. Now, what exactly are we adjusting to change this height? Well, if you look at the platen, there's screws in each corner, and this is suspended by a spring in the middle. So these float. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust using these nuts down at the bottom and our wrench. And this simply goes on the nut, and that's how we make the adjustments. So now, let's look at the platen height relative to the print head. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of the corners of one of the platens, and we're going to set our stack of quarters back there. And then I'm going to release the print head. And there's a little part of the print head on the front left-hand side, a little rectangular piece of plastic that sticks down slightly lower than the print head. We want to bring the print head over, and we don't want to put it so that it's over the quarters, just right next to the quarters. And now, using those bed up-down buttons, we're going to set our height. And what I'm trying to do is I want the height of the quarters so that when I bring the head over, that I'm just barely touching the quarter. We're so close. Okay, so now I am just barely touching the quarter. Okay, so now we want to turn the gap height sensor off. So I'm going to press the bed up down button simultaneously to deactivate it. It turns amber in color. And now I'm using that back right hand corner as my reference. So now I'm going to take the stack of quarters down. I'm going to push the platen in further. And now I'm going to work on the front right hand corner. Now which one you go to next is completely arbitrary. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to check the height of that. And you can see I'm clearing the stack of quarters here. So that corner is too low. So now I'll just pull this out a little bit and I'll make a little adjustment to that nut. Loosen it up a little bit, which raises it. Push this back under and check it again. And it's not quite there yet. So we'll make a little more adjustment. Still not quite there yet. And we want to get this as absolutely precise as we can. And now I'm pushing the stack, but it's actually pushing a little low on that quarter, so I'm going to make a little adjustment with it going down a slight bit now. Still a little low. And now I am just barely clearing the stack. So now I adjusted a little too far the other way, so I'll come back just slightly now. And this should be perfect. And I'm barely touching the top of that quarter, just like in the other corner. I would now continue this process for the other two corners. Then I go back around again and check them all one more time, because sometimes when you move one side, the other side gets thrown off slightly. So we want to keep going around and around until we get to the point where we've got the exact same distance in all four corners. Then we continue that process to each additional platen that we have. It's also a good idea to mark your platens, specifically whether you're putting them on the left side of the machine or the right side of the machine. You can simply take a little Sharpie or put a piece of tape on the platen and write on the tape, and that way you've got it precisely calibrated for each corner of the machine, and we will get our best prints that way. This is always best done before we put ink in the machine. When you're done, always make sure to return your print head back to the capping station. And that's how we level our platens.